Hey everyone, Ben Butler here, farm manager at Butlers Orchard in Germantown, Maryland. And today we are talking about fruit trees. I'm going to focus mostly on apples, but a lot of the principles apply to peaches or whatever other crop that you're trying to grow in your backyard. So while we are in a commercial orchard, we have about 15 acres or so, a lot of the principles do apply again to the backyard. So let's dive into it. If you don't have apples or any other fruit trees to begin with, I'd recommend Adams County Nursery in Adams County, Pennsylvania. They do sell to the homeowners and have a great sales team that can help with any questions you might have when you're trying to buy trees. A few things to consider when you're buying trees. Buy one you like. Varieties that you'll eat and that the kids will eat is obviously a good idea. You want to make sure that they do have some built-in resistance to different diseases, like fire blight would be good, apple scab, things like that. When you're ordering your trees, you're also going to have to order and decide which rootstock you want to be on. So your rootstock, for those of you who don't know, is bottom here, where your root system is. This is called your graft union, where they, by hand, graft on a stick of scion wood, which is whatever variety of apple that you'd like to grow. So you want fire blight resistance, you'd like scab resistance, and those things to consider. And then for the scion wood, what variety does well in your neck of the woods, and what variety do you want? Something to consider is the trellising. We're on a trellised orchard, considered a high density orchard. Most of you will probably be doing standalone trees, so no support system, nothing like that. So that will determine whether you're going for a very dwarfing rootstock that needs support from a trellis to stay upright, or if you'll go with a heavier rootstock, it'll be a little bit bigger tree, bigger root system, and doesn't need any outside support. As far as planting goes, full sun, well-drained soil, control the weeds. It's not rocket science to put them in the ground, but you definitely want that graft union to be 6, 8, 10 inches above the ground. If that is too low, the scion will start to overroot and you'll have problems. Let's talk pests for a second. Number one, deer. So most of us live in places where deer are a problem, and they do love apple trees. So please, 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 if you put apples in the ground or any other kind of fruit tree, do something for the deer. A fence is ideal. You can bait them away, or you can put some different products on. Hot sauce, for example, will help protect your trees, but they are ruthless and they will ruin your little hobby if you don't stop them. So be aware of the deer. Fire blight this time of year is a major issue. Bloom especially, fire blight, warm conditions, moisture, and open blooms. So if you don't know about fire blight, they can kill trees. Literally, the wood just dies back from the flower buds and can take out a whole tree if you're not careful, especially when they're young. So be careful with fire blight. Many other diseases, scab, rusts, do some homework, learn about them. A light integrated pest management system is what we use, which is a hybrid between organic and conventional methods. So there's lots of options out there: sulfur, oil, copper, pheromone disruptors to disrupt the insects. Do some homework, because pests will ruin your crop, and it'll be very frustrating. So the apples and other fruit trees are not a hands-off kind of gardening hobby. You have to make sure you're aware of the risks and the problems that come along with them. As far as pruning and production goes, assuming that you're going to be on an untrellised, normal, old-school orchard, I would call it, with standalone trees spread far apart, the goal really is to take out very vigorous, big wood. You don't want to grow wood. So if it's going straight up, if it's too low to the ground, if these lateral scaffold branches, we call them, if they're too close together, you want to thin those out. If they're getting too big, you might want to take those out also. Pruning's an art and a science, and too much to cover today. But you do want to keep good airflow in your tree, so don't clutter it up, don't let it get cluttered, and take out this big, vigorous wood. You know, that's not going to have a lot of apples. It's just growing wood. So that's an important piece of pruning. When you do cut back to a bud, so for an example, I've got a bud right here. I'm going to take this cut, and that bud should take off and give me a new growth and a better crotch angle, they call it, for more apples to come. The last thing I'll mention, which has just happened here, is frost. If your trees are small enough to put a blanket on them or a heater next to them, which maybe not both, would be a good idea, because we had 22 degrees here the other night, and if you can see that flower, that's dead. So we lost a good amount of these pink lady. We lost some strawberries, we lost some cherries. Not a lot to do, but on a small scale, something to protect them from the cold weather is great. If you'd like to reach me, my contact info will be available to you, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions. Otherwise, good luck. It can be a fun hobby, involve the kids, And it's a long-term game, but the rewards can be really satisfying. Thanks.